Hello and welcome to another F-Zero Machine Recreation with Captain JJ. Last time around we did Fire Stingray and Samurai Gore number 5. Now this time around we are moving on to 06 in the line, and that is Wild Goose driven by Pico, the third of the 4 original machines in the F-Zero series. Now initially it was a bit of a difficult one to choose which colour green to use as the base. I was thinking the Aston Martin one, but then I realised one of the G6 on the satin side was possibly the most accurate to the Wild Goose. Now this is based on the F-Zero GX livery rather than the anime livery, which is a little bit different. So first off, we've coloured it green, but the first part, as in front of the cockpit, is always covered in black. Now this is the initial shape which I chose, but then I've realised that doesn't look quite right to me. So after I've done this layering, I replace the decal to something a little bit more rounded. There we go, and that's done. Just push it towards the end. I'm experimenting a little bit here just to make sure it gets right, and then you colour that black. So that part is complete. Now we're going on to the side of the machine. The top part of the cockpit is coloured in yellow, and the bottom part of it is green with 2 white lines on each side. So what we're going to do first off is the middle part. We're going to colour that part in yellow, as we are demonstrating here. Now it only extends to the beginning of the cockpit towards the rear, so I'm going to have to move this a little bit more to the more to the right towards the rear. There we go. A little bit more, please. A little bit more. A little bit more. There we are. And now we're going to colour this in a... I was looking at vivid, but then it's too vivid. Traditional... Yeah, traditional yellow is what I went for in the end. So, just going to paint that in the traditional yellow when we get there. I'm just checking the colour at this point. Like so. And what I'm going to do here is duplicate on the other side. Hide symmetrically, which means it will be exactly the same on the other side. Now we've got the roof section to do, which should be a little bit easier to do now because I've done the initial part. Making sure it no green area is covered, so put that in the same colour. Don't need to do anything symmetrically here. And that is the cockpit side of the Wild Goose completed. We're going back now to the left hand side, so as we have got to fill a little bit more on that side, as in the machine has got a little bit of yellow extending to the front, so I'm just going to deal with that now, making sure this is filled in. Now I'm going to make sure it covers up to the rear end of the front wheel as shown here. Let's have a look here. Let's see how that's good. Okay, that looks acceptable to me. Let's move it down just to see how it goes. That's fine. So we are also going to colour that in the same yellow. We're going to duplicate that. Now if I did that, now you saw I did the duplication incorrectly. Did it the second time around. Symmetrically is what you need to do here. And now I'm just going to fill in the other side. Try the teardrop shape, but then I realised, nah, that doesn't work. So what I'm going to do again is replace the decal to something else, like a little bit thicker one. Did that look right? Not particularly. So we're just going to run with it and do the same there. Colour it. There we go. And now we just need to fill in a little space on the rear, on the small part there. There we go. That one's done. Now we need to duplicate symmetrically to match the other side. And that is the front part now done. Now we are going on to the 2 lines. There is a double line section here, which is just there. It's hidden under shapes. Trying to work out which one is the best one. I found the best one for the job. This is going to go to the rear of the machine and extend to the back, as the white lines do extend to the back of the machine. I was thinking about putting it on the wheel arch, but then it does look a little bit tacky because of the bodily shape of it. So I thought I have to do it a little bit further up just to make sure it looks fine. So I tried that, doesn't work. Tried up here, it looks a little bit tacky. So going to go to the roof section or the top part to try that way. When I figured out exactly what I'm supposed to be doing here. Oh, there we go. There we are. So stick that on there, duplicate symmetrically, and the lines are done. Now we're just going to speed up the footage a little bit here, as I made a couple of errors on that part. We're just checking the editable area. We are going to make a couple of changes. Before I do the other one, I have to put in the back windshield. Well, I would call it a windshield, but except it's not a windshield. So just get that sorted out. Thinking triangle? No. So what I'm doing here is putting in the grills on the back. And make sure it's evenly across in the center. So make sure it's evenly across in the center. Turn that a little bit to make sure it's straight to the machine, and then expand it. And there we go, that's the grill done. Now I'm going to speed up the footage again as I'm doing the rest of the parts. This is basically a duplication job. Duplicate the layer, move it down. That's all it is to it. Making sure there is an equal amount of gap between the last two pieces I've just done. And I thought, something's not quite right here. I didn't look until looking back at the footage afterwards that the wing section, you know, where I did the roof section, wasn't actually far enough. So I'm just going to push that down a little bit. What I didn't do was widen it to go to the other side. Now that was my fault on that one, and that will be rectified later. Now we're going to move on to the numbers, so we move on to the left hand side first. Make sure it fits and doesn't overlap, like so. Pico is, and Wild Goose is 06. So what I'm using are the blank paint machines. I now coupled it symmetrically, which wasn't actually the correct thing to do on this one. But it puts it to the other side. Thank you. Now let's go to the right hand side. All you need to do in that situation is just move it to the left if you're doing it on the left hand side, or to the right if you're doing it on the right hand side. I always do left before right. So now let's find number 6. Now that was already in there. If you see any numbers, favorite it, and then it will appear in your favorites. If you're enjoying the content so far, please do consider subscribing to my channel. I am doing this video once a week, launches on Sundays, and I'll be doing all the main series F-Zero machines, and possibly doing the anime and the maximum velocity machines as well later on. As you saw, the problem with the symmetrically copied there, it mirrored the 6. So I'm just going to flip that the right way around, and those are the numbers there. The anime does include one at the front, but that's not being included here. So now we're going to move on to another section. I believe it's the lightning section. What I'm using here is the kill switch. Oh, hold on a minute. Yeah. That doesn't quite work out. What I need to do is put it somewhere else. So let's get rid of that and choose a different area. What you need to do is use other, as it will cover the rear section. It will also cover the mirror section. So what I'm doing here is putting the kill switch on the other side, and I'm going to do exactly the same on that one. And I also duplicated it because I felt that the first one was not in the right area. So what I did was duplicate it so it goes back on the left hand side, so it's symmetrical. Now we're moving on again, just doing a few checks here. Now I realized something, that the lines were not quite in the correct position. So what I'm going to do is just move it, extend it a little bit, make sure it starts at the end of the yellow. I say when I start at the end of the yellow, can only go down so much before it hits the rear machine, and that's a separate part of the body entirely. So just checking here, I need to actually push that a little bit back down now so that it doesn't overlap with the yellow part. I say, okay, move it down a little bit, but anyway, we duplicated it, and it looks exactly the same because I did it symmetrically. Nothing's doing on the rear, as it's completely green on the rear of the machine. Just having a quick look there. I've also noticed that the numbers are not in the right place. And also what I did notice, that at the bottom of the machine there are 4 rectangular shapes. So I'm just going to add those in there. So 30, no, hold on, widen it. Yes. Right. There we go. Yep, there we go. 24 on 5, 24 up, 5% wide. Stick it down there. Stick it on the bottom left. Making sure it lines up. There we go. Now we'll colour it black. Now we're going to speed up the footage again at this point because it's 4 per side. So what I'm doing is essentially the same as what I did on the rear with the radiators. Is a copy, duplicate symmetrically, and then push it over there. So that part is now completed. I've also noticed that this part and that 0 is not consistent with the other zeros on the other side. So what I'm going to do here is going to change the numbers. So just get rid of those. Now look inside the into the decors. I'm going to search the number again because it wasn't right. Now the 6th one was used as the blank pay machine, which is like GT3 racing. So I do that. Find the number I want. And then I'm going to put it in, like so. Colour that white. And then I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side. So duplicate symmetrically. Don't worry, it's fine. All you need to do is just move it to the left so it's next to the 6. And there, you are done on that one. There's one thing which I do need to do now, and that is concerning the rear wing, as it contains a yellow circle with a red exterior. So just going to put that in the middle of the rear wing. Colour that yellow. I said colour that yellow. And then what we're going to do is add another layer. And if I can find it, that is. What I'm going to do is get the outer circle so I can put it on top of the full yellow circle, like so. And then we're going to colour it red. What isn't shown here is that when I do it, I've saved the machine. It is ready to be shared later on. This is the full preview of the machine. This didn't take too long of a time. I felt it went alright for the most part. There is going to be a modification made on the right hand side. If I can make it work, that is. Here's to make sure it's yellow on the refueling section and where the kill switch is. So that is the Wild Goose created in Gran Turismo 7. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section below. Blue Falcon is next Sunday, so please do join me for that. That is the final shot. And until then, this is Captain JJ signing out, and it's goodbye from me. Have a very pleasant, happy 2023.